fantastic. It's a good day to be alive. Come to think of it, every day's a good day to be alive.
Thanks for joining us for another exciting editions of Chronic Conversations. Unfortunately, missing right now is my beautiful wife and co-host Jennifer, or as you might know her now, Gran, Getting Baked with Gran. Check out, we have a pilot episode of that up. Now, mind you, it's just a pilot episode, so I'm trying different camera angles. The lighting's not great. We got some background noise, so it's not a complete product. It's just to kind of give you a general idea of the tone of the show.
Yes, don't be a dick.
Yeah. So just know that going in, we're going to have some more refined, well-produced.
Refinements.
We also have a sketch show coming up. I don't know if you're aware of this, and this is my guest today, Mr. Jason Leroy Lewis from Bumping the Night.
Yeah, call me Orson Hells. I'm trying to brand.
Yes, to give. Well, you know what? Instead of me, you tell them who you are and tell us a little bit about your character if they don't know who Bumping the Night is.
So I'm Orson Hells from Bumping the Night TV on YouTube. And I'll come check it out. You know, I need the views. I need the money. I got a girlfriend and a wife on the side. You know, times are tough.
Wait, is the girlfriend on the side or the wife on the side? That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not okay.
Yeah. So I'm Orson Hells. I'm branding that. You know, getting out there and Bumping the Night TV. I'm gonna say it like 7 more times because that's what they say. You have to hear it 7 times before it's burnt.
You have to hear Bumping the Night 7 times or Bumping the Night 7 times?
Bumping the Night 7 times. You got a haunting.
Yeah, you got a haunting. I'd like to have one of those, though, a haunting. I'm really into the paranormal. As a matter of fact, Friday the 13th, we have a double feature coming out. There's a couple of tenants. How do you say it's Macabre? And I do not know how to how would you say it? Macabre, Tennessee. Macabre. Yeah, it's going to be coming, and I don't know. I'm horrible at pronouncing things. I'll make sure I pronounce that right before they're on the show. They're going to be coming on the show. We have Mid Tennessee Paranormal that's going to be on the show Friday the 13th. So we'll get all our paranormal talk about the ghosties and so forth with Mid Tennessee Paranormal, and then with Tennessee Macabre, we're going to talk horror movies, old, new, and especially, of course, Friday the 13th series.
Well, you know, you talk about the paranormal. Like, so have you actually had like any kind of paranormal experiences?
Yes, and I've talked a little bit about it a couple times, and that's what's gotten me interested in it. And what's weird is people would think, because I'm into it, that I'm not a skeptic, but actually the opposite is kind of true. I'm actually a real big skeptic. That makes me even more interested in it because I've had these experiences I can't explain. I can't say they were ghosts or this or that, because to me, I guess the definition of paranormal is just kind of outside the normal. So anything outside the normal that'd be kind of hard to explain in basic ways to me is paranormal. I've had and I've written blogs about it and I've talked about it, but we've had all kinds, especially since I've been with her. Like our energy together seems to draw more stuff. Around here, there was actually, you see how those mirrors and the candles up front on the top shelf right there, and there's that picture behind it.
Oh, spooky.
Well, we had a different, that in itself is spooky, but that's not even the story. There was another picture behind it that literally was leaning like this, came up, and over. While we were sitting right there, and we both kind of looked over and then looked at each other, and it's one of those things like maybe you're. I'm still steadily trying to explain it, and I can't.
I got you.
How about yourself? Have you had any? Paranormal experiences.
I noticed it only happens when I'm hunting for it.
Yeah.
Like, so I did do some college.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a Christian college. This is the only class that actually did like paranormal and parapsychology classes.
Right. And Lorraine, you know, famous.
So I got real heavy into it, and I was like, you know what? There's no job future for this.
Right.
You either teach these classes or it goes good on a book jacket. So
right.
I stopped, you know. But really a lot of interesting things, like have you heard of psychic imprinting? Yes. Okay, that is probably my favorite explanation for ghosts. Mm-hmm. So you're familiar with it, so I'm going to skip it.
Well, I mean, they may not be, so tell them exactly what that is. And there's different forms of it, but what's the basic?
The basic principle is your brain runs electricity and all that stuff, and everything around you is made up of energy. You know, protons, electrons, neutrons, Nutella, all that stuff like
Nutella,
that. Yeah. So, say your wife kills you for not bringing her blunt in time.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So while she's stabbing you, your brain is firing on all the synapses it's ever fired on.
Flooding into.
Yeah, more than it's ever done before.
Right.
And this basically gets burnt into the surrounding area like a photograph.
Mm-hmm.
So years later, somebody comes by whose brainwave is slightly close enough to that, they actually catch a glimpse of that image burnt in time, and that's what they see as a ghost. It's actually just a burnt image of your trauma.
Yeah, and it's a lot. I've seen different things from different kind of ghosts, from those to the reoccurring, just kind of like the static things that are, like you said, more the image of like a soldier or something. There's the co-host, Jen. Okay. Say hi, baby.
Hi, baby.
Not as scary as I thought it was going to be. It was not as spooky.
These candles? Yep, all righty. Here we go. We're just getting some candles here. There you go.
You're
welcome. It's seance time. That's something as a kid, I've played with the Ouija boards a little bit. You ever mess with the Ouija boards? I've never been a part of the seance.
Yeah, that was like the thesis I had at the college.
That's fascinating, because this is something I didn't know about you. So this is really cool news.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got three main explanations for how the Ouija board works. Mm-hmm. If you're a Christian, it's demons.
Right. Because there are no spirits. There's the Holy Spirit, and there's God and Jesus and demons. Right.
Then you got two, which is what you actually think it is. It's actually ghosts. Mm-hmm. Three, whoever has the dominant personality of the group, they're moving it, but they're moving it unconsciously with a part of the brain that creates dreams and lies. Gotcha. It allows that to open up and flourish. You're giving it a medium to express itself. So the dominant personality is moving it with whatever their brain thinks of subconsciously as dreams and lies and stuff like that. That's pretty freaking interesting.
Right, yeah.
Now, we had a possession case with that. Mm-hmm. So whether it was possession or she had worked her own mind up into this thing.
Right.
That's
because a lot of the hauntings and poltergeist I've watched, just not on the shows, but in the research I've done, have seemed to have been caused by something such as that, by the own person's trauma or whatever kind of vibes they have going on. And to speak to you, you're talking about moving things with the mind, and it's the projection of, I mean, really, we talk about matter, and matter is what? It's high rate of speed of the little things vibrating, like you're talking about, the neurons and all that. And in between it is a bunch of empty space, but we don't experience that empty space because it's moving such a high rate of speed that when I touch you, you feel like you're solid, though nothing's really solid. So do you think it could be one of those things to where you're not touching it, but you just don't see that kind of link there, almost like you don't see, the holes in this because it's vibrating so fast? Do you think that? I love coming up with bullshit theories, so feel free to call me out on anything I say. Just remember that most of the time, 99%, Google what I say, because I'm just talking shit in the moment. I may even think something different or studied something different, but first my brain gets turned around or whatever. So definitely look up my shit. I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. I do have fun coming up with theories, though. I'm a reverse engineer. I like to figure shit out, like we was talking about earlier. I like to figure out editing and all these different things. I like to kind of take when I was a kid, I like take things apart, put them back together. That I like figuring out how things work, but in reverse.
I was an ADD kid, so I'd take it apart and just leave.
Same, yeah. Same. I had trouble focusing, but there were those certain subjects. I feel like if it had been around then, I might have studied harder during ghostology or demonology.
Yeah, you do. I mean, if it's what you interest, like my grades were like D to 103, depending on if I liked the class. If it called my ADD attention, but so the possession thing. Mm-hmm. So it was either a legitimate possession or she had worked her own mind up into this thing.
Some kind of psychosis or something.
So, like I said, early paranormal experiments, we were playing with the Ouija board and we were experimenting with it, candles, radio stuff. We had where the radio station would change digitally, but it could have been.
Right. I know, good timing, right? Like right when we was talking about hauntings and paranormal and stuff like that, you opened the door. Yeah. Ooh. Door creak, spooky. Ooh. Speaking of spirits, I see some spirits right there in her hand.
Hey,
they don't sponsor. I should say not a sponsor. You can tell two guys been in the business.
Any bourbon or scotch.
Look, I'm turning this around, and like you can't tell what it is. Yeah. Anybody wants to sponsor us, jump in there. Anybody from Budweiser, Coca-Cola, those places.
Alcohol company wants to sponsor Bumping Out TV. Product placement, all that stuff.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah. Definitely. I'll wear your T-shirt. You just let us know what you need us to do.
I will whore it out.
So let's go back to, you were talking about being in school and you were doing the experiment with the Ouija board and and the person that was possessed, but you don't know if.
So we worked our way up to, originally we're doing experiments. Mm-hmm. You know, I played around with it and it moved. You know, but now I'm thinking it's got to be.
Still talking about the ghost?
Yeah, we're working our way up there.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're playing the Ouija board.
I don't know. I hear it too. It sounds like a squeaky toy or something.
A bat?
I don't know. It kind of sounds like a bat, a rat. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe shut that door behind you. I have it open to let a little air in, but if you shut it, maybe that noise will at least. It might be. There's no telling. We heard the dogs earlier, so they might have a chew toy or something out there. Because whenever you're shooting a show, there's nothing more exciting than getting that. Louder.
Thank you. Don't burn yourself.
So there might be one in this box too, if you need it. Yeah.
So I'm trying to run and be as scientific as I can. So I stopped playing it. I let other people play it, and then we use different theories on it and stuff like that. Like if it is demons and ghosts and all that stuff like that. So we contacted my aunt, who was a witch and who died of heroin overdose. If you're into that Christian mythology, that is a surefire way to get your ass sent downstairs. Not saying that's what's going on, but you know that version of the theory.
I'm not saying a prayer is the same thing as casting a spell. I'm not saying that at all either. No, I'm not saying it. There's those who have, but I would never say anything like that.
I mean, all magic is transference.
Yeah, right.
So we get a hold of my dead aunt, supposedly. So now I'm not touching the board.
Right.
I start asking questions to them who are playing the board, things that they've never met her, never talked about her.
Right.
And it's coming up with the correct answers, like what was your granddaughter's name? Or, no, your grandchild's name. Didn't even say the sex.
Well, how do you think that was happening? Just because, I mean, like we're talking about, if it's an imprint, like I feel like it would need to be you on that board for those things to be coming through, something that it was getting from already inside.
Well, I didn't want to, you know,
influence in any way.
And it started to spell out the name properly, and I stopped it because I got freaked out.
Right.
I should have let it spell the whole name out to see if it got it correctly, but when you get the first couple of letters right, I mean, it's freaky enough. And then we had the radio station would change, like I said, while we would play the radio in the background and stuff, and it would change. Well, maybe it's a short in the old radio, but just freaky things like that. So so when I said stop, that's you know, like,
that's good. No more.
Are we in danger? And the Ouija board went straight to yes.
Oh, shit.
Why are we in danger? And the planchard flew off the board, and we're never able to contact her again. So that makes for, like, you know, oh, she got in trouble for telling us to be careful.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've seen stuff like that before. It's so fascinating. You're talking about that. We were staying at the Reed House. You know, there's some stories about that place. Just Google it.
Someone kept raiding the minibar while I was there.
Yeah. And we had a laptop and had this little app, ghost hunting, you know, bullshit app. It wasn't even a religious ass, literally just for fun type of thing. And we want to see, you know, because I figure it's got an algorithm that's going to throw random words, and if some of them sound like they're kind of close, it'll be cool, right? So it has this ghost radar, and we start seeing all these ghosts pop up. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. So we ask them, is there anything you want to tell us? Danger. It's like, okay, that's weird. Danger, but it's still fairly generic.
Yeah, you're playing ghost.
General, we haven't got specific, so this could be an algorithm thing. Maybe they pull up words like danger or fear or whatever. Okay, so well, who's in danger? Jen. Spelled out her nickname. J-N. So at this point, we're like, this is supposed to be a toy. Like, we're just playing around, and it's like, so that's when we got a little freaked out and stopped a little bit because it was starting to come. Yes, it's like goodbye. Do you know there's certain rules that people are supposed to follow with boards? Do you believe in that? Do you need to like close it out and things like that? Or is that just a part of the projection of our own consciousness?
That is all urban legends, you know, really, because like there's not much of an instruction manual on these boards. It's all, well, I heard you got to do this. I heard you got to do this. Same way with Bloody Mary.
Right.
How many times you got to say Bloody Mary?
Yeah, exactly.
How many times you got to spin around? The lights got to be on before.
The only one I know for sure is Candyman. That's 5 times.
5 times.
Just like Booker T. 5 times. Anyway.
Yeah. You know, he called us out on the show about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my partner sent in a script for Tony Todd to read, and it had say my name 3 times. And if you watch the video on Bumping the Night TV, when Tony Todd says it, he's real passive aggressive. He says, Candyman, say my name 5 times. Like, yeah. That's so good. Passive aggressive is so good.
That's the best way to be. So do you have, what other things can you tell us about that time? I mean, so what other experiments do you have? I'd like to hear some more about that for sure.
We got to play around the board, and like I said, there's no proof on this. So it's her subconscious,
right,
or it's actually going on, but
it's not like you can ask somebody to refer to a book and they go, this is definitely happening. This is why.
Yeah.
It's just all theory right now.
We got a hold of Darby Crash. So Darby Crash was the lead singer of the Germs, the punk band, who OD'd on heroin. We were all punk kids, right. Before it fell out, there was a Mohawk at one time. The Combat, the Doc Martens, the Black Flag and Misfits, all stuff like that. All that kind of stuff. So Misfits, we got a hold of Darby Crash, and the girl that was playing was really like getting into it. We're spending like hour-long sessions talking to dead punk rock singer Darby Crash, and she started getting like really obsessive with it. Like I would call her like at night on I was working third shift. I'd call her at night on my break. Hey, what you doing? She goes, oh, just talking to Darby. So she was now at home with this Ouija board, carrying on conversations with Darby Crash.
Regardless of religion, many believe in possession. Do you believe that right there? That because from my definitions that I understand, that would be at least the grounds for the starting of that. And a lot of ghosts are tricksters too. They want you to believe they're a little kid or a woman or a mom or your favorite punk rock singer, somebody you'd want to talk to. So you open yourself up. Or you've worked it up
in your head. And either way, it's causing psychological harm.
Right.
It's not good no matter what format this is actually happening.
Right.
And we have no proof of what was actually going on.
Right.
But that freaked me out. And then, she would still do this. And then she started complaining of having nightmares where a shadow person would choke her. And she would wake up gasping for breath.
Right.
So I was like, all right, well, either way, if it's ghosts, demons, or your own psychological issues, we get rid of the board, we get rid of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
It did not go away.
Mm.
I said, what, so we did some research, studying, research, whatever. We did ask the question away. Turns out she had started like doodling stuff on her like college notebook. I love Darby Crash and all this stuff like that, and Germs logos and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And once she threw that away, whatever was going on mentally or spiritually stopped
with it. So that was the connection or the connecting piece.
The last connecting piece. So maybe psychological, maybe you gave it a foothold and it's going to keep in there. But
it's sort of like you can call it prayer, placebo effect, whatever you call it, God, universe, demons, spirits.
So
at some point, you're basically generally talking about the same thing. We're just using different names, different words. So don't split hairs with us.
So I'll straight up say I'm a Christian, but I'm very open-minded. My wife is a witch. I understand. I wasn't there to see any of this stuff that's going on. Okay, I wasn't there for any of this stuff. This happened at least a decade before I was born, right?
Truly in the Bible, I mean, if you talk about a lot of those guys that wrote the Bible, they were born quite a time after Jesus as well. As a matter of fact, and historically speaking, Paul of Tarsus was actually closer to Jesus' time.
And some of the people all of my ancestors were pagan. So who am I going to judge my wife for being pagan?
Right.
I ain't supposed to judge anyway.
Exactly.
But I'm very open-minded.
Wait, are you sure you're a Christian?
Yeah, but I'm very
that threw me off. Yeah,
I'm very open-minded. I understand that I wasn't there to see anything, but by following the Christian path, my life has been blessed, and I'm going to kind of stick to that.
Right.
I'm thankful.
Call what you want. Again, placebo effect, universe, God, Jesus. If it works for you,
will not deny it.
Why? Yeah. Why wouldn't you? And what is real? What is reality? That's a whole different conversation. But just because it's not in like when you think, okay, this is reality, but when I close my eyes and have a dream, that's non-reality. That's the only non-reality and reality people think of. But if Christians were all pieces of the body of God, right? You're pieces of the body of Christ. So again, you're all. Everybody believes you're all a piece of the same body and you're one. So I don't see any harm as long as you're not harming yourself or other people in beliefs within themselves. I believe when they start to manipulate those through their own mental illnesses and things is where it gets dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether you're a Muslim or Christian,
on others.
Yes.
Because like everything in the Bible is, I don't think the Bible literal.
And that's a big argument within itself. Is it literal? Is it not? Is it colloquial? Is it both? I feel like I can't stand on either side of that real hard just from what I read, because some of it I just don't think. No, I think it's a parable. It's a story. It's meant to explain something.
Yeah, I would go on that.
Some stuff is meant to be told as truth. Like this is.
So like some of the sins, some of the sins that are in the Bible, I don't think were ever sins.
But then again, sins against man versus sins against God, or things that we came up with, because I feel like a lot of sin is processed by man within itself.
Well, you got that, but like you also got like, how many people were illiterate back then?
Right.
Okay, how do you explain to the illiterate mass that eating shrimp without refrigeration is going to kill you?
Right.
You can't explain this to them.
Or
so you make it the simplest terms you can. God made a sin. Don't do it no more.
Right. Yes. I think that's what I say about pork. I think Jews and the things that the Bible recommends is it's a great. If you want to be healthy, read the Bible, because it will tell you between fast and all these other ways to eat, it will lead you to a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle. I don't think when they say it's a sin, I think, like I said, to me, it's a sin to your body, because you eat too much pork, too much sugar, too much things like that. You're destroying the temple. But in the end of the day,
also you got like uncooked pork not cooked properly. Yes.
You got some worms.
Yeah,
not the fun kind.
Just all kinds of salmonella and stuff like that. So,
yeah, all kinds of stuff.
So you how do you get these idiots to stop eating half cooked bacon? You're going to hell. I'm done. That's. I don't think every sin is actually a sin.
Right. Because even Paul said, even Paul would go into people's homes and eat pork and things, because he said, I would be offending them because they're giving me what little they have, and if what little they have is pork, then why would I not eat it? Because I just bless it and give glory to God, and all things I give glory to God becomes blessed. Now it's blessed. But it's in those situations. But so that's like, I don't think you're going to hell for eating pork, but you might want to, cut back a little bit.
You might die early.
You might die early. You might, not want to eat bacon every single day as much as I'd love to.
Homosexuality.
Yeah.
Okay. Between men, diseases do pass easier.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you explain to people that this is what was in STDs or whatnot?
Do you think, because this is still at a point in time in Leviticus where they first start talking about homosexuality? This is a time when there's not a lot of people. We're still recreating. Incest is still okay at this time.
Like third
homosexual, cousin. Third cousin. Homosexual is not. Incest is still, not frowned upon, because we're populating.
But cities are beginning to form.
So that leads me to the question: at one, like, people like to focus on things that they don't like. They can have 1,000 sins in their closet, but the one sin they don't like, they point out, right?
Well, yeah.
And it seems to be more than anything homosexuality. We're not worried about pedophiles or, all these other sins that.
Yeah. And like growing up in the 80s, you were almost rewarded for being like homophobic.
Right.
We played football games.
It was a societal thing.
Yeah,
not so much.
Oh, you're gay. That was. I'm glad we're over that.
right.
But I did it. But that's what I was taught. But we opened up. Learn that. But like
when you're ignorant, it's a difference between it being ignorant and being stupid. At least you learned, and you're not like that. The problem is there's too many people that are still like that have learned.
So, do you know where the word faggot comes from?
Yes, England.
Yeah,
I'll let you explain that the rest of the way.
So during the witch trials, to keep the fire burning, they would use the fat of a person, and that they would toss the person on there, and it was usually a homosexual. And originally, a faggot was a bundle of wood used to keep a fire going. So it became slang to call a homosexual person a faggot, because we're going to throw them on the fire to keep the fire going.
Yep.
That is awful, and I don't understand why that's so offensive.
In England, the term faggot went on to describe cigarettes.
Yeah, because the fire.
Because of the fire.
Yeah.
The same thing, isn't it? Isn't it fascinating, though, that it's the same place it came from, but it branched off, and one's a cigarette, and one still likes to suck on things. Maybe not. Not all are the same. So I'm being facetious, but you know what I'm talking about. I don't
know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
What you're talking about.
See, what it was before time started. No, I'm not going to go back there. But it's one of those things where I feel like, again, like religion, why Why is that something that bothers somebody?
I don't know, but we went from Ouija boards to homosexuality.
Yeah, and there's no telling where we'll end up before this
is
said
a hole
and
in the Ouija board, you get like a ghost glory hole.
A ghost glory hole.
That's the only way I can connect those.
I think I've heard every time you yawn, a ghost sticks his dick in your mouth. So just remember that next time you have a big yawn.
I've got a bad habit that anytime anybody yawns, I always like to do that.
So what do you think it would be like conjuring up gay ghosts then? Would you have to use a cigarette?
No, but like where would that rank in the hierarchy of sins though?
The hierarchy of sins, right? But we were talking about if it's a sin versus a sin and incest
and the Christianity stuff. Like, so I don't believe in hell.
So when do you think? I don't either. When do you think homosexuality became a sin, and when do you think incest started being one?
Incest probably came first.
Yeah,
but like the how far out it was probably changed, like,
right. Like you start out with whoever's in the house.
First cousin, but your third cousin, it's kosher.
Yeah, started out with your mom going, "Come here, it's your 16th birthday."
Is it Jasper?
I went. Speaking of that, I went on a mom Sun date with my mom one time. I didn't get laid though. Don't worry about it. Unless you consider the blowjob on the way home. But anyway, that's a story for a different. You got to get the Patreon version of this. On a Mother Sunday. Yeah, it's an incest joke. Sorry. Yeah. Except the blowjob was punchline.
Ouija boards, homosexual.
Ouija boards, homosexual, incest. Yeah, let's.
Children's episode.
As long as you're not having incest with aborted babies, then oh God, I brought abortion into it.
Abortion.
Or do you bring that out of it?
Abortion's interesting. As a Christian.
As a Christian, it's an interesting.
So my thoughts are logical. Okay. I'm pro-choice. Okay, but I mean, you are killing it. If you got to kill it, it's fucking alive. Right. But if you make it illegal, people are going to still do it, and it's going to be very dangerous. You're going to kill the baby, you'll kill the mom, and possibly whoever did it is going to prison.
Right.
Lesser of evil.
God made you free will. The government's a different story.
Well, yeah.
I don't like people infringing on somebody's body, and if and again, that's a big argument too, where life begins. So that's, I'm no scientist, so I'm not even going to try to jump in that argument. My side would be how precious people think life is, because you would have to hold life as precious, and that's something a Christian would certainly do. But on the outside, maybe an atheist, the way they look at it is life within itself is not precious, because it's our egos that make it precious. Like, why is it precious? If let's just consider for a minute, there's just the universe and there is no God, Jesus. Then why? What exactly makes life precious?
Potential.
Just because it exists, or just the potential
of doing something wonderful or creative or beautiful.
Right. Yeah. That's where we need to lean towards, because I feel
like we're talking about Ouija boards and incest and homosexuality. So we're not doing anything creative or beautiful.
And me in particular, humans in general are like a cancer. They've done these studies of what would happen when we disappeared, and apparently we're the only species where the world would actually improve if we were gone. Is that like, I don't know if, again, I'm not a scientist, so I won't, it's fluctuations in temperatures, global warming. I don't know. But, I feel like sometimes what bothers me is not that you believe this way or that way, but you don't want to allow me or you to question it. That's where the problem comes. They're like, just believe this because it's science. Just believe this because it's religion. Even God says in the Bible, you're allowed to question him. So why can't I question? Socrates, one of the greatest minds ever. What did he do? He just walked around asking people questions. He didn't even speak or try to say you're dumb or anything like that. He's just like, well, don't you think?
That's just a great gimmick. That's just a great gimmick.
Isn't it?
Why?
Everything. Why?
Why? This guy's brilliant.
Why? Yeah. Let's jump to another one. News. I wish news was just who, what, where, when, and why. I wish it was not editorialized.
Girl, what are your views on politics?
I think there are good people who get into politics who want to make a change, and once they get in there, they figure out that the system has been around for too long in place the way it is, and it's hard to change.
Yeah,
because there's not enough people from the inside that want to change it. It's almost all people from the outside.
Maybe on the local level, you can get somebody that does that, but higher up, the psychology of a person who thinks I should lead you because I know what's right
is automatically going to have
flaws.
Disqualifies you as president. Because I've heard a lot of people say, I think I would make a good president, but I'm not going to fucking do it. And that shows how smart they are and how I would probably vote for them, but it's not going to happen because they're never going to run. But the president's one man. I think he gets too much credit and too much. Yeah.
You got the House, the Senate.
Yes, we have three branches of government. Like, we talk politics. People don't talk politics. They talk presidents. They talk red versus blue, and
football
to
team,
me,
it's
the stupidest shit ever. And even George Washington said it, right? He warned us. He said a two-party system is fucking stupid. Now, I might be paraphrasing a little bit, but I'm pretty sure he said Smidgy said, and he may not lie, but I do a little bit. So he probably said it like that. Fucking ridiculous. But what do you think could there be a better party system? Could there be, I don't know if there's a better form of government. Ours is horrible, but I don't know if there's necessarily a better one.
What about the people that govern us are the people with the highest IQ?
Well, we're talking logic, but
we
need them because you're logical, you can be the smartest dude in the world, but not have emotional maturity. And the red dude pisses you off, so now I'm pushing the button. So I think you need balance. I think a person needs to be an old school rose scholar. He needs to be a fucking samurai that plants roses.
So you need the like the Rain Man situation.
Yeah, I wish there was more than one person. I wish we had a committee. In booking, I don't think it's good to have a committee in pro wrestling. However, in politics, I wish there was more. It was more spread out somehow, because one dude is figuring out what's best for 330 people. How's that possible?
The
tribes are meant to have leaders. We're meant to be tribes of 12 or more. That's where tribalism works. That's where, it takes a tribe to raise kids. It takes a community. It's communities of small amounts. Once you start, anytime you start, 20 or more, you start getting too many assholes in the group, I think.
Just 20?
Just 20.
Just 20. That's your number.
Actually, usually,
that's the magic number.
Actually, if there's more than two.
There's 21, they're all assholes.
Me and you are fine, but if we bring a third, a fourth, a fifth, eventually there's going to be somebody who's either in a bad mood or an asshole, and they're going to run it for all of us, right? Yeah. And I think that's what it is we're just so big, and we're still using that one guy, and he's everything, right? If gas is good and you like the president, it's his thing. If gas is bad and you do like the president, then it's not his thing. And like, you decide. It's almost like people who decide the Bible. They literally fit the Bible around their lives instead of the lives around the Bible.
Oh, yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah, and you have. I know you have emotion. You're emotionally mature. You love God, things like that. You have a love for God. I mean, He's given you a lot. It'd be pretty shitty not to. Plus, what does it say God is? I say this all the time. Regardless of what you believe, it doesn't say God has love. It doesn't say God will love you. It literally says God is, the adverb is, love.
But there's also, I am a jealous God.
Yes. It can be a little contradictory in there, because love doesn't have fear and jealousy has tones of fear.
So, God made man in his own image. Mm-hmm. I don't think that means physically.
I don't either, but I know a lot of people do.
Mentally.
Yes.
I don't think, if God.
I believe our consciousness is our Holy Spirit.
I don't think God needs teeth.
Right. No.
God doesn't need a wiener.
No. Well, something that always was and always will be, people forget that he's the Alpha and the Omega. So if you believe in God, then he hasn't just been here since humans have been around. He didn't just pop into existence, and like he's always has been. So that's why it's funny to me when people try to put constructs on time. Why do you think we do that? Obviously, we need it to make it through work days and this and that and the other. But how have we gotten? We've talked about this. It's like the fear thing. Let's say me and you get shot at, a bullet comes through here. Well, that's going to fuck us up probably the rest of the day, right? Average person, not a psychopath. But we've been shot at before. But the person who's never been shot at, that'd fuck up their whole day. Or if it was almost an accident, that'd fuck up your whole day. But a deer seemingly runs and sees the car, oh shit, and is scared in that moment. Deer in headlights runs, and then it's licking water like nothing ever happened. What do we need that for? What is that? I'm sure it's a gift of God, and I'm sure it's something, universe, whatever you want to say.
That is kind of part of my whole why I'm religious, is the separation. The huge separation between us and any other animal that's been around as long as we have or longer.
Right.
There's still, you might get a monkey that uses a stick and a stone. Mm-hmm. That is nowhere near, not even halfway toward. So just the fact that one species did that and none of the others did.
Right.
Like you got the turtle. The turtle is like, I'm going to build this shell and protect myself. You know, the cheetah, I'm going to run 70 miles an hour, and the bird, I'm going to fly away with these, you know, flappy arms.
Humans, we're going to have these really
we're going to wait till we get smart enough.
Yeah, smart enough.
No,
that's our protection.
Yeah, we'll get smart enough to. No, there's something went on. Something happened. And
have you heard of the stoned ape theory?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's definitely a fascinating theory. Basically, shrooms eat. Damn. Monkeys, gorillas, cheetahs, animals.
Oh my.
Oh my. What are we doing? Are we still on the show? Is this thing on? Hello.
So we went Ouija boards on.
Let's pull it back around. Do you know, you're a Christian, so you probably don't believe this, but do all dogs go to heaven? Are there animals? Do they have some kind of spirit or consciousness that can, or do you think, because I know I've seen images of you see like ghost dogs and stuff. Is that just an imprint? Like we're talking about before, just that dog just ran so many times that it just kind of picked up the imprint, or do you think there is some kind of...
That is an eerie because like dogs are a man creation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Took a wolf and
so
how we got down to
dogs, basically a fox or wolf realized that if it hung around the campfire long enough, you'd get some food.
Eat better.
Yeah. And
get some
grub. Those animals live longer and bred more. And that's how you came up with the first dogs and stuff. So it's kind of a man-made thing. Is there an afterlife? I want to say yes, because they each show different personalities.
Yeah. I love animals, you know. I'm a PETA dude. It pisses me off when you're chaining up your dog or you don't use the right pull thing. That's all that kind of stuff pisses me off. So I really hope so. It's one of those things where I don't really have an opinion on it or a theory, but I like to ask people because that's what I want to hear. That's what I'm hoping to hear is, there at least could be, because I mean, I don't know, it's not something that talks about the Bible, probably something, even if it is in existence, maybe God didn't think was that important in the scope of things, but it's something I would like to know. I mean, do talk about in heaven how the the lion lays with the lamb and things like that, and heaven, and the new heaven, new earth, and things like that. So does that just mean those new animals, or those animals that have passed away? It doesn't say. I don't know.
Okay, so let's go further than that. Okay,
let's hang on. All right, go ahead.
So I don't know what your beliefs are, but if there is an afterlife, what the afterlife is going to do to your psychology, you will not be you. Okay? You will have no pain. You imagine not being no pain, no fear of pain. What would that do to you psychologically? No fear of death.
Well, we'll be separated from our ego, literally.
No fear of humiliation.
No matter how much you tame your ego, it's different taming it and literally being separated from it.
I mean,
because there is no more.
There's people I see on the street, and I'm like, oh, they're ugly. And I'm like, that psychology will be gone, and that's, so you won't be you, but you'll be an echo of you. And like,
it does say you'll be known. So how do you think we recognize that there? Because I believe that too. I don't believe, or do you believe that's just, we'll perceive, maybe that's not what you'll be, but you'll still perceive somebody like, I'll still see you as fucking Jason. Like, I know you right now, and this is how I recognize you. Or do you think it'll be something spiritual to where like, I just know, you just know.
It would have to be that, because otherwise, or you wouldn't even worry about it, would you?
Right.
This is a kindred soul. He's here with me. They have no sexuality. They have no fear, no hatred. So no, I don't think you wouldn't recognize me, but you'd be happy to see somebody that's, everybody there is a friend.
Right.
It's a concept.
And you're one, and it's love, and you're all part of the body of Christ. So I guess no matter, I almost feel like maybe, we talk about when it talks about recognize somebody, maybe just as your spiritual brother, maybe it's not talking about, I know you as Jason, maybe just like you said, I'm love, this is love, and you just like, magnets
or there's, or as a Christian, I will say, or there's nothing.
Right.
As a Christian, your blessings were how good your life was on earth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you get. Mm-hmm. It's this and then the grave. And you'll never know.
Right.
If there's nothing after this, you'll never know.
Right.
But my life has been great.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is all I get and there's no heaven, I'm not going to complain.
Right. I'm definitely okay with that.
But if there's a heaven, now that's phenomenal.
That's gravy. That's gravy. Well, you were talking about, we're talking about heaven. Let's talk about the other way. Hell, you said you didn't believe in hell. Now, there's technically, it does not talk about a place called hell in the Bible.
No, it's shul, which is the Jewish word for the grave.
Right.
So either you got the reward of eternity, that's where He-Man's from.
Right.
Or you get nothing.
And is that part of the Yahoo believe shall not perish but have everlasting life? So maybe the grave is hell. Maybe nothing. Maybe nothing.
God.
I was just going to say the separation from God. So you're dead, and you either. So what could be a worse hell if there is a God and it's love? What could be a worse hell than being totally separated from love?
Well, you won't know what you're gone.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Wasted potential.
Right. So you're saying I should party harder?
Just like Andrew WK.
Yeah. That's great.
But I mean, as a Christian, but who's not, who's open-minded to there may be this is all I get. Mm-hmm. I'll never know. So it's win-win for me. Either I get heaven, I'm like, yeah, in your faces, everybody, except you, the Mormons,
right?
Or nothing, and I'll never know. So
either way,
yeah, win-win for
either way, you're good. Me. So yeah, and that's what's funny is I think some people are either Christians or not Christians or whatever because of the same tribalism thing that they want to be on the winning side. They want to be on the side that goes ha ha. But what they don't realize is those people probably aren't going to be in what heaven is. Like you're missing the whole point.
Or you just strip down of all that ego.
Yeah, you get caught up in the ego and you end up.
What about reincarnation?
That's a fascinating subject. If it's based, everything's faith-based. Even Christianity says all those who believe shall not perish but have everlasting. So everything's a belief system. So what if what you believe at time of death is what you experience in your consciousness in the second? Like there was a Robin Williams movie, I think it was called What Dreams May Come, if I'm not mistaken. And that was the basic concept of that. She was in hell because she committed suicide, and she was taught her whole life as a Catholic that you go to hell.
Made her own hell, yeah.
They, in the end of this movie,
what would be your hell?
Your childhood.
Yeah, my childhood, having to relive my childhood.
Probably was that bad childhood?
It was super bad. And so was, it makes it sound like I'm talking about a bad guy, but so was my first marriage. So if being in those situations were certainly hell. But since then, my kids, my bonus kids, my wife Jennifer, have changed all that around. And now to me, my hell would just be being separated from them, being in a place forever where they weren't going to be.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that would be total hell, because that's what my happiness is now. That's my heaven. So I don't care about streets of gold. I don't care about some of those things. What I care about is the people I love and care about here. I want to see you again up there. I want to fucking smoke a cigar with you and have a glass of whiskey in heaven.
That sounds good.
I think that'll be great.
Different theories on what heaven could be. One of my favorite theories is you just relive your best moments in your life over and over again, and you don't know you're doing it.
Right. So I could get married to Jen time and time and time again. That would be pretty fucking awesome.
You kiss ass.
Whereas hell would be the opposite in the things I went through in the past.
So like hell, like if there was a hell, it would be like either torture constantly or like nothingness.
Right.
You're just sitting there, conscious and aware of everything. There's no books, no TV,
just right. Am I going to be bored? Or
like a waiting room and like a DMV or something.
If you've ever felt a good vibe, won something, a t-shirt offline, fallen in love, anything that is over the Holy Spirit, anything that is overwhelmingly joyful.
Yeah.
Like to me, if you were aware and there was nothing else going on, to me, it would just be a state of forever being in that state. But then my question is the way we were created on earth is the struggle is what makes things sweet. We need the paradox, all that kind of thing. So what happens to that when it's done away with? Would we become spoiled? Are we going to become like angels? I mean, did they become spoiled? Y'all know what angels really look like? Look that up and then get back to me. All right, now I'll get back to you.
When you're talking about that led me right back into reincarnation.
Yes.
The whole
do you get to choose if it's reincarnation too? That's a fascinating concept.
Yeah. So like, what is it like? The better you are, the better your next life is better and better and better.
Karmic, the karmic law.
So my question is like, you're really good this life around, and your next life is even better. Mm-hmm. Where comes a point where like you become an asshole because everything is just you've been so good for so long, and now you're born again, and everything is handed to you, and you become an asshole.
Right.
And then you have to start at the very end, beginning again with
now you're a fly around cow shit.
Yeah. So that's kind of a slippery slope, I think. It just gets better and better and better.
And a lot believe that we choose these lives. We choose our parents. We choose what kind of lives we want to have, that we pick, that you looked. And that I find that fascinating because on the one hand, I'm like, your automatic thought is when you've been through a lot of traumatic things is there's no fucking way in hell I'd choose that. But then you really start thinking of it. It's pretty cliche, but if I hadn't have gone through the things I went through, it wouldn't have made me the man I am today. And sorry, I'm going to sound like an ass kiss again, but to be able to have a proper, healthy relationship, because this is the first healthy man-woman relationship I've had of any kind. Because I grew up in the way I did, and you know, all that's based on my own decisions and stuff. I don't want everybody to think I'm just blaming parents and stuff. You know, most of my dumb shit I brought on myself, bad decisions, things like that. But to be able to get to a point now, the contrast, you know, and I'm
the journey brought you here.
The journey brought me here. So how could I not choose this but that's the thing. Do I see it ahead? Did I know that she was down the pike, that if I just stuck it out through all this other bullshit, that this was what's there? Or did I just jump in blind and like, okay, I like this one. Let's see what happens. Go for a ride. Or am I being rewarded? Am I being punished? Because I feel like my life's been so crazy all over the place. It's been contrast. It's been as worse as you can possibly imagine in your worst nightmare. And I've been as blessed and as grateful as you can possibly think of to be in life as well. So I've been on both ends of that spectrum.
Yeah, we've done a lot.
Yeah. We've lived some lives.
I've been a janitor. I've been a private detective, professional wrestling, sideshow strongman, horror show host. You know, that's pretty freaking weird gambit to take.
It is. I think, yeah.
I've seen things, you know, I've been all the way to the Bahamas, all the way to Canada, you know, I'm going to Alaska next year. I mean, I've seen Halley's Comet. The sweet spot was right in there for everything.
Yeah.
So,
sadly enough, I got up at 2, 3 in the morning or whatever. My stepdad at the time had a good camera. He was a photographer and stuff, and went out there. And I don't know what happened.
He touched you.
Yeah, he
if you want to see it,
he did, but not the fun way. Yeah, he was pretty violent with me, but
see stars that time.
That day, yeah, that day. Fortunately, I didn't get. Actually, nothing happened. He didn't see. It was actually that's one of the few times I remember him being oddly not affectionate, but almost like a normal person. Like I didn't have to fear his vibe. Like that was one of two times. And the other time it was really weird. It was towards the end, because he seemed to hate me and love my little brother. Like he was his little buddy, and like nothing ever happened to my brother. Like it was always to me. Towards the very end, he switched, and all of a sudden he wanted to be my best friend, and he was shitting on my brother. And it was bittersweet because on the one thing, this is the thing I've wanted for all these years is this, to have this happen. But on the other hand, now you're being a shit to my brother and still being a shit to my mom. So there's these confusing feelings going on that
I understand completely. Like my dad, till the age of about 11, he was great.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-puberty to like 44, like I was a stranger or something.
Yeah.
Mom said this is how he was raised,
Right.
Hugging a 12-year-old boy.
And we know now as adults, we know our parents didn't know what they didn't know either.
Yeah.
But then, from a child's eyes, I'm sure you were like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Like, why is it different? Even if you don't know exactly what's going on, something's going on, right? I'm sure you.
Yeah. It makes me emotional. But like, Dad got cancer though, and became a hugger again.
Yeah.
But that's all right. I understand.
Yeah. It was weird for me because, like, I'm an emotional guy, so I've always been kind of a crier. But my dad is super stoic. Like, I've seen him cry like twice. When he started getting a little older, I seen him cry one time when we were leaving, and now I totally get it. Your grandkids, your kids leaving, you don't know how often you're going to see them, stuff like that. I see why you become the grandpa crier, because I'm the grandpa crier now. But at the time, it was so hard to deal with because I always saw, whatever problems I had with my dad, I always saw him as a strong dude, the stoic dude that things just didn't affect him in an emotional way. So to see him turn into that person kind of scared me, because that flip, even though that's kind of what I wanted him to be too, so he could understand me better, it was still one of those things like, oh shit, like, what, he's crying now? Like, why? He doesn't cry. Like, to things that you know normally somebody like that's crying, somebody died or close to you or something like that. So it's definitely a odd experience seeing that, even changing from bad to good. It was a weird experience. But I'll definitely try to talk to him with an Ouija board after he goes and see if he's crying on the other side.
Up for the glory hole.
The glory ghost hole. I think that's a good place to wrap it up before we go, man. Tell them about Bumping the Knot, and the Bumping the Knot show you're on. Yeah.
It's a YouTube show, horror comedy based, more on comedy.
And it's recently changed, right? I mean, y'all had this kind of one little format you were going with, and over the last, I think it's about a year or so ago.
AV kids, we didn't know what we wanted until this is our favorite format.
You found your voice.
Yeah. So the whole idea of the show is we're old school horror hosts. We're trying to introduce movies, do interviews with people, and we never actually get to do it because stuff happens during the show, and
comedically.
That's the episode of us trying to do an episode and shenanigans happen.
Now, is this chronological? Do they need to start with episode 1 and watch all the episodes, or can they jump in there at any episode, do you think?
Do
you want them to go back if they've never seen it at all and watch some of the history of it, or would you rather them start in the middle?
If they have a lot of free time, go back and watch how awkward
and comment on every single. I think that's cool. See, I like to do that when I discover a new show. I always want to go back and see where they started and where they are now.
We're fixing to start our 4th year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We've got about 7,000 subscribers.
Nice.
YouTube pays us. Holy shit.
Right.
Not much, but they pay us. That's crazy. So we started out as an interview show, and then we started doing movie reviews, and then COVID hit, and we couldn't get any real guests, so we made some fake guests. And that started the upward slope of
created some really interesting characters.
Yeah, and then it helped me write this is what I want to do. I want to do a show that's a satire of the Elvira
of the show we were originally doing.
Yeah,
yeah.
So I don't know if you ever watched the Muppet shows.
Oh, of course, yes.
The stuff that happened while they were setting up the show is kind of what we do now.
Kind of a backstage look.
Yeah.
Basically what goes on behind the scenes and trying to put a show together that never actually
and so every character is the worst version possible of a person.
Right.
There's somebody, lust is their main motivator. You got alcoholics, racism, homophobia, being a Mexican, all that stuff is on the show.
Right.
And so you're not supposed to like the characters.
Right.
You're supposed to hate
You're not supposed to relate. You're supposed to
hate us. Yeah.
And so don't feel bad if you do. That's the way they're created, to be hated.
Yeah.
Or like them if you want to. There's those heel fans out there that likes the
It's like the worst people possible.
Worst people possible.
Get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this season we have a new the storyline is the whole outline is we have a new show owner. He bought the company and he's incompetent.
Yeah.
And he's blowing the budget on stupid stuff like golf carts for everybody.
I have seen some of that. That is so funny.
Yeah. So we have
our old friend Bobby Anderson in there.
Yeah. So we got to wrangle him back in so we can keep the show because we don't want to get real jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love the little bit I've seen of it has been fucking spectacular.
So we're going to introduce my daughter this year.
Mm-hmm.
And she's terrible.
Great.
She's terrible at everything.
Uh-huh.
And because she's my daughter, I keep just giving her different jobs.
Right. Gotcha.
So yeah, that's the two main story arcs for this year.
Love it.
Trying to, get the daughter.
Nepotism at its finest.
Because we're all terrible people, and then trying to keep our job.
What's even better is if everybody else knows it and you don't.
Yeah. Well, the whole idea is, I'm not going to ruin anything. You got to watch
let's
the show.
no more. I'm just don't let me theories. And no. Speaking of new shows, I'll talk a little bit about Getting Baked with Gran. We've been talking about her a little bit. My beautiful wife Jen. We're going to have that, like I said, polished up and out.
So what is that exactly?
Okay, so
it's like she cooking with weed, like home. Like
it is everything. She is a home cook. She's not a chef, but she's a grand cook. So everything is she on her Facebook page posts everything she cooks, and there's been big demand for her to show recipes. So we thought we was trying to think of something she could do, and I was trying to think of a way to come up with more content. So it's going to be a basic cooking show. What it's going to be is a combination of different things.
Okay.
So first thing it's going to be is she has meals that have a lot of meaning to her, like that her grandmother used to make, or that her mom used to make, or something like that. And there'll be stories behind them, or things that people have highly requested, like her deviled eggs, that people are constantly, how do you make those? How do you make those? It'll be those, but it will also be fun stuff. She will show that she's human and she wants to try recipes that she's literally never tried before, first time on camera.
Okay.
Sometimes we will have like tasters and you know, guest hosts and guest cooks.
So I thought it was all going to be stuff like wheat butter.
But yes, there will be. She will. Most of them will be, I guess, as fairly family friendly as you can get with the Chronic Network. But some of them will. She will be making adult products. We do have a dispensary, Snapdragon Hemp, that has 5 locations. They're not a sponsor anymore, but if you still want to be, I like talking about you and I love using her products. But anyway, yeah, she's going to be doing all of that, and then also making edibles and stuff. And sometimes Gran, you know, is 21 and above and likes to use products from Snapdragon as well. So the idea for getting baked with Gran is that you can get baked and then make some food with her. Now you got the munchies and you make a little food. So that's where the name kind of ties into it as far as. So there will be some edible type things in there, but overall it's just going to be, like I said, a mixture of things with stories, personal things she's cooking, or things like that. And then coming after that, and it's still to be decided on the name, because we talked about horrible at coming up with show names. My brother came up with Chronic Conversation. She came up with Getting Baked with Gran. You came up with something for the new sketch. So we have you appearing in one of my first sketches that's going to be released. And we won't say a lot more about that. That is similar to this show, and that there's going to be an interview. And it will not be Jason Leroy, Lewis, the
Orson
strong
Hells.
man. It'll
Orson
be,
Hells.
yeah. Say your last name again.
Hells.
Hales.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Orson Hells.
So I've been saying Orson Hills.
No, it's Hells.
That's okay, because I call Brandon Hyman Brandon Hinman, and I call Scenic Nick. I don't know if my brain's doing that because of my ego, and I'm like, I got to change your name to what I think it should be or what. So I apologize if I do call you Hill. I just did it again.
I thought it was your accent.
Yeah, it could be. Well, I shouldn't have said nothing at all. I was saying the right thing all along. Cut and edit and start over. But yeah, it's going to be a sketch show. It's to be named. We'll get it. I'm still want to get some clips. We'll get some clips of it out there. I'll find some stuff. Got a lot of editing to do, a lot of polishing to do. And who knows? And who knows? I mean, I may look through it and be like, well, shit, we're gonna have to shoot this again, and I may have to offer.
You should make Jen your editor in chief.
Yeah, get him some more scotch and hamburgers to come shoot it again. And if I get something together out of this anyway, and you guys like it, let us know, because we'll certainly keep with the characters. The sketch show will basically be multiple characters. I have a lot of ideas for characters and themes that I'll be writing about. I can tell you some of the ideas. I don't know what'll flesh out yet, and even what's written, if it'll come to fruition. There's the self-defense sensei. His name is Master J, not to be confused with Jam Master J, because he's passed away and I'm still alive. Where he will be trying to.
About your release on the 13th.
Yes, I've been talking about that, and I'll say that again before I go. But then we'll have a few other characters on there as well. We have you doing your character on there. We'll be interviewing somebody. I have like the horrible promo guy. It's going to be
horrible promo guy.
Yeah, it's going to be a taste of what we've seen from the car interviews and the type of things that you all hate about promos. It's going to be all of that. So that'll probably be a more popular among wrestling fans and so forth. But I've got tons of ideas, tons of characters, tons of people I'm talking to about creating other characters right now. I'll
have fun editing all that stuff.
Yes, I'm going to try to have fun editing. And don't forget, Friday 13th, our double feature drops with Tennessee Macabre and Middle Tennessee Paranormal. That's going to be 2 really fucking awesome shows and great for Friday the 13th.
So the Tennessee, what now?
It's the Tennessee Macabre.
What are we talking about? Like
they are they do the hosting of they.
So he smokes a lot of weed. It's Tennessee Macabre.
Macabre, yes. Look, see, that's why I was asking him earlier. I don't know how to pronounce that. You did, yeah. About. Yeah, but now we got it figured out. Macabre, Tennessee Macabre. I'm so sorry, guys. Now I know Macabre. I should know that.
Public Night TV's got your back.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I run this shit. No, don't worry. The wife is the brains of the operation. No, I'm just the boobs.
Yeah. The eye candy.
I'm just the eye candy.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be
crying
fun.
over there.
She's crying. Yeah. It's good. Gran's going to be in some of the skits. Family members. We're going to have Orson Hells. Hells from Hills. Maybe Hells from Hills. You could live on a hill. You could be on a house on a hill, maybe. Is that where you live?
Maybe a transvestite.
Maybe.
You know, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
But your nose is not broken. Still have eyes. Yeah, that's something we're going to be talking about on the Macabre show. So it's going to be Tennessee Macabre and Mid Tennessee Paranormal. Great guy to talk to, Steve Denson. McAfee, whoever. McKay Toy Stores, whatever. I don't know. No, that's the bookstore. Anyway, watch all of our shows. Watch all of them. That's all I'm saying. Give us a like, a share, a comment.
That's right. We got girlfriends and wives on the side. We need the money and the views. That helps us keep doing that. Yeah, they're getting expensive. These shows get expensive, so definitely.
Talking about wives and girlfriends on the side.
Yeah, those two, all of it. It's all expensive. It's all dollars and no cents. Well, man, is there anything else you have before we?
I'm good.
You good? Well, hopefully out of those 37 takes we took, there'll be something good. If not, I'll be giving you a holler. And we'll get back on it, man, and get the stuff out here soon. I appreciate everybody for washing. I appreciate it. Yeah. I definitely appreciate you washing, especially wrestlers, because I don't know if y'all know, but a lot of guys just axe their stuff. They don't actually wash it. Yeah.
Got to be clean before it goes.
Got to be clean. Yes. Pile driver, no, I don't think so.
Backside pile driver.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching us on Conversations. Be sure to watch Bump in the Night. Be sure to watch the Friday the 13th episodes, and be on the lookout for the first official premiere episode of Getting Baked with Grant, and also our new sketch show yet to be named. Thank you so much. We love you, and peace.